If you want only one thing too much, it's likely to turn out a disappointment. Now, the only healthy way to live, as I see it, is to learn to like all the everyday things. It ain't a mistake to behave like a human being once in a while. I guess this'll teach me to be careful about what I promise in the future. I hate rude behavior in a man. I won't tolerate it. It ain't dying I'm talking about, it's living. I doubt it matters where you die, but it matters where you live.
Hey there, Readers and Rapscallions. Welcome back to the library. Hoping to earn your subscription today. I finished up Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry just this morning, and I wanted to hurry up and get my thoughts down and talk about them because, wow. It's a Pulitzer winner, so it's already got that going for it, and it was published in 1985. I knew going into this that it's the book is pretty much universally renowned and beloved. Some people call it the great American novel. It was adapted into a popular miniseries. I want to say that was in 1989. I need to check that. But I hadn't really experienced a Western novel before. I'm a fan of the aesthetic. I like my share of spaghetti Westerns. I play occasional video games. I've played Red Dead Redemption, both of them a couple times, so I like the idea and the aesthetic of the Old West. I used to live and work out there, so it had a lot going for it for me already, but I wasn't entirely sure what to expect. Given that said, it completely blew whatever expectations I had just totally out of the water. I feel like this being my first Western novel that I read, maybe I should stop now because this is supposed to be the best one, and I should probably kind of go out on a high experience. But seriously, this was a wonderful mix of slice of life and man versus nature. It's like a story of romance, the story of survival, it's a story of struggle, and it's all set against the backdrop of the last days of the American West. And it was just an absolute joy to read. But let me give you a better summary of what it's about. An adventure, a romance, and an epic journey across the American frontier. In the last days of the Old West, former Texas Rangers Gus McCrae and Woodrow Call begin a cattle drive from the Rio Grande bound for the Yellowstone River. The story that unfolds sees the Hat Creek outfit encounter endless dangers and struggle to survive in a frontier world where the next impossible challenge may be just over the horizon. So yeah, that is Lonesome Dove. So in that summary, I mentioned Gus and Call. Those two especially, but all the characters in general, are really the highlight and the lifeblood of this story. It has a wonderful setting. I loved the story. I loved the twists and turns, but it really is those characters that makes it into something special. So we follow Gus and Call, and we're following them basically across the entirety of the United States. They start in the town of Lonesome Dove, the Lonesome Dove, and they take a herd of cattle all the way up to the Yellowstone River in Montana. They're not alone. There's several other hands and workers that come with them on this long journey, but Gus and Call are the two that we get to know the most. So when we meet Gus, for example, he is kind of lazy. He likes to avoid work and drink and talk about the important stuff. And they throughout the whole novel, they always say that Gus can take anything and turn it into a conversation. He's kind of a guy who enjoys the simple things in life. You contrast him with Call, who's your Clint Eastwood. He's the strong, silent type. I mean, neither of these guys is really an action hero, but Call is the one who really does feel like a natural leader. And these two have known each other for decades, ever since they were Texas Rangers. And you get a lot of that story of their past as they're going through these challenges. And what I mean by that is sometimes you have stories where You have two characters that have known each other for a long time, and they spend so much time talking back and forth about the good old days and all these adventures they have, but you don't really feel that in the narrative moving forward. This is not like that. You absolutely get all that old Texas Ranger coming back. Gus kind of strikes as like a lazy, doddering kind of codger, but when push comes to shove, you're like, oh my god, he's so incredibly competent, and it's very, very clear that he wasn't just spending those Texas Ranger days taking a nap. Like, he is very effective when the occasion calls for it. Same thing with Woodrow Call, Captain Call. They have all of that Texas Ranger background there, and you really get the feeling that these two can face a challenge and, without having any real communication between each other, work perfectly in a team and execute whatever kind of solution they need to get through these challenges and do what they need to do and survive. Because that's the biggest part of the story. The biggest challenge they face is just surviving in this crazy, hostile, dangerous frontier. And it's not just Gus and Call. You've got Lorena, who's a prostitute from Lonesome Dove, who has dreams and the steely determination to make those dreams come true, and wants to accompany the Hat Creek outfit for reasons so she can achieve her goals. You've got Dietz, you've got Newt, you've got Dish and P.I. All these people have their own goals and ambitions and things that they want to do. It's like the singular best thing about this book is these are the most human characters I've ever read. There are no knights in shining armor. There are no dastardly mustache twirling villains. Like, there's some not good people in this book, but everybody, even the people who are supposed to be antagonistic, they all act like people would act. They all make decisions that are in their own interests. Even the people that you might think are the good guys will act selfishly when they think they can get away with it. And that human element of it just really, it's not that it carries a story, because it's the rest of the story besides the characters, it's not like a weak story. But that's really like the glue that holds it all together, is just how incredibly human and fleshed out these characters are. You get like 80, 90, 100 pages in before anything like really happens. It's just kind of, up until then, a full 10% or so of the story, it's really just them kind of talking about life in Texas and talking about cows and getting up to do chores and make biscuits. But you're riveted the whole time. You just want to hang out with these guys and listen to them talk by a campfire. It's absolutely wonderful character writing. The setting, besides the characters, the setting also takes the center stage. You go all the way from the Rio Grande up through the United States, almost to the Canadian border. I've been all up and down that region. I'm from the Great Lakes region right now, but I've been all up and down that area in the old breadbasket region and then down towards the border. And Mr. McMurtry just does this astonishing job of telling you about these changing environments as you're going from south to north, how you're going from that kind of hilly scrubland to the Great Plains, and then you're getting up north, you're getting towards more mountainous and highland country, and the different dangers that accompany them. You've got like snakes, you got bears, you've got hostile Native American tribes, you have flash floods and other natural disasters, you got outlaws. All of this is like working against our guys trying to do this drive, and it really adds a sense of adventure to the whole thing, because that's the whole reason that this all starts. They want to do the cattle drive because it's like a money making thing. They would be the first people to do a cattle drive from Texas and set up a ranch land in Montana, because this is still like during the Native American wars from the end of the 1800s. But really the big impetus why Call decides to do this is he has an old friend who comes back after about 10 years away, tells him about Montana, and Call gets this in his head. And he really wants this to be partly the cattle drive, but also like, I'm getting old, let's do one last adventure. And that additional element really kind of brings together the last little bit of characterization. You have the exterior of all these people that you're with this whole time, but they also have the underlying just depth that makes them so incredibly human, working within and against this dangerous landscape that is more terrifying than any outlaw, and seeing all these people together and watching them pull through and rise to these challenges when they can. Not all of them make it, and that's one of the other things about, like, there are very clear stakes. There is no plot armor in this story. It's just people trying to survive and trying to do right by themselves. So should you read Lonesome Dove? Well, that's a big book. We're looking at about 860 pages for this edition. It's not a short one, but should you read it? Absolutely. This is one that you do not let the length intimidate you. This book is absolutely spectacular. Like I said, I like some Western movies, but I've never read any Western books. I'm pretty fresh in the genre, and this was a complete page turner for me. Like I said, even when nothing was really happening, seeing these incredibly real feeling people dealing with all the challenges around them in the setting that they were in was just sensational. If this book wasn't so critically acclaimed, I probably would never have picked it up, but I did, and I'm going to be another one of those that is critically acclaiming it, me with my humble YouTube channel, saying that, yes, everybody who is much more of an expert than me is absolutely right, but it's me you should listen to, and I'm saying go read this book because it was sensational. Okay, guys, that was Lonesome Dove. Like I said, just astonishing. This is going to be like one of those books that you can kind of divide your life into before and after you read it. It was just, I can't stop saying good things about it. Everything that everybody says to sing the praises about this book is completely true. I am a little bit curious about further explorations within the Western genre. I know Larry McMurtry writes more in that genre and also does, I know, prequels, I think also sequels to Lonesome Dove. Please let me know in the comments if I should check some of those out, because I haven't really looked into it, so I don't know if they're quite as good quality. I'm really hoping they are. Thank you guys so much for joining me in the library, and we will see you next time.